I'm Dylan Gott, and welcome to John and Dylan Online, a show where two comedians do half-assed research into internet history. Joining my host
Ah, you
now.
fucking idiot. Fuck you. Hello.
Histy. No, that's
It
fucking slang for history. Joining me, that right there is my co-host, John Hastings, and he'll be telling you a bit about our subject today.
That's right. John Hastings is here. That's history on the streets, history in the
Histy.
sheets. And let me tell you what day. I don't care what day you're listening to this podcast because guess what day today is, Dylan? Today's Friday. It is fucking Friday, my friend. Yes, fucking mark it on the fucking calendar. It is time for the song is back stuck in my head. It hasn't been stuck in my head for 2 days. It's back stuck in my head. It was in my head for 5 full days of just Friday, Friday. And I don't know the lyrics to any songs. So all I can just sing in my head is Friday, Friday. And then I
That
have
is
to
the
look.
brilliance of the song, is just say it over and over again. Most people don't remember things. At the very least, you will remember this.
I'm going to say this very much is Rebecca Black has definitely, much like Monica Lewinsky, has really
Ooh.
like walked through the fire that is like public humiliation and has come out the other side as just you're like, well, this might be like, why isn't this person just in charge? She just seems grounded and balanced, except for her most recent record and some of her social media posts can be a bit too risque for me. But
Oh
besides
yeah, she
that,
is fucking it's weird where you're like, I haven't paid attention to Rebecca Black in over a decade. And then you wake up and now she's obviously 25 and she's literally selling a fucking nudie plating card deck of herself and
wild.
she has a new album. It's like this is the thing about the first time I met Rebecca Black, you'd say became acquainted with
Met.
Rebecca Black.
You'd say you met Rebecca Black. You say you
I
met
would
her.
say I met her, internet met her. I was 26 and she was no, I would have been like 25, she was 13, and now she's 25, I'm 37, and I would never look at photos of her because in my head that's a fucking 13-year-old.
That's absolutely
John,
correct.
however, has been awaiting for this day.
I wouldn't say awaiting. I like it wasn't
John
like
had a
I would.
bunch of countdowns.
Hey, hey, hey! I
Like
wouldn't
the
say
Olsen
again.
twins. Remember
First
those
of all,
Olsen
for
twins? They
oh
like
my god,
countdowns to the Olsen twins are
the,
18.
I
Oh boy,
don't care what
I gotta
any
eat my computer.
I don't care what anyone fucking says. The
Mm-hmm.
2000s were so crap. Like it was so insane. That whole decade was literally just 9/11. Everyone being like, yo, pretty soon those fucking babies from the Full House will be the age where we're allowed to fuck them. We will then be allowed to fuck them. This cannot
I
be
can't wait for the
understated.
fucking Olsen twins to turn 18. Oh, 9/11 is really sad. Back to the Olsen twins,
Yeah,
though.
I was talking actually though. Maybe it's so fucking crazy the fucking 2000s were. Is America
Mm-hmm.
literally was like, yo, we want to go to Iraq and kill this guy? And everyone was like, you can't though. And they're like, but check this out. And then they just did that. Like no one, we had a war for that. And then at the world was so crazy. America elected a black man. Here we go. What a
This
fucking
is
wild time. It's so fucking sick. Dylan, you know
and
what else is
someone who
sick?
should have been had Blackwater hired to eliminate them is everyone who posted on the internet in 2011.
2011 is correct because let me tell you what happened is a woman in Irvine, California, the only place I've seen a QAnon flag in real life, um, wanted to have a singing career, as many people do in show business. Her parents are veterinarians, therefore are literal billionaires. And so they are able to just basically pay for their daughter's sort of activity after school to be pursue a professional music career.
Yeah,
And that's what Rebecca Black did. One of her
one of her
hobbies.
friends got a video done by these guys at Arc Music Factory. So she then had the same thing, but she's like pretty middle class and the child
Yeah.
of divorce, which is a pretty good divorce move. Where it's like, oh yeah, well I got Rebecca a fucking music
Oh, yeah.
video,
I'm
motherfucker.
at, I guarantee I guarantee this was brought up in a divorce hearing. Um, I think that we need to check on custody. Kirsten made it so that 400,000 people called our daughter a cunt on the
Mm-hmm.
internet. Like this
Well,
is the thing.
just had to lock yourself inside, and well, here's the other thing about it. is that the thing I find really interesting about it is they pay 4 grand for this music video. Rebecca wants to be a singer,
Mhm.
and
Can
yeah,
I pause you right there? Now, here is something that I always assumed about this story and was propagated and kind of part of the negative reaction that we're about to talk about was that it was not that it was described to me as this rich kid's dad for her birthday paid for her to become a
yeah,
famous pop star,
but it was
and
the mom.
it was like this, but it was literally all the opposite. It was like it was the mom. It was just like a music video as a fucking lark, and it wasn't for a music career. It was just like it's a fucking I don't know. She's a 14-year-old in 2011. She doesn't want a fucking pony. I just want this kid to talk to me for one fucking second. Yeah, he can have a music video.
She wanted to be in music. Her mom, who was middle class, was like, "I'll fucking get you a." And then she basically was like, I heard her
Can
do an
I
interview about it
just
where obviously Rebecca still did the video and stuff, but then the interviewer goes like, "Was there financial stress in the family?" And Rebecca's like, "Oh yes." My mom basically was like, "I'll buy it for you." Oh no.
yeah, this is the most middle class story ever. I come from a middle class suburban background as well. Dylan comes from another version of the suburban middle class background, which is like the weird only in Southern Ontario. I lived in a city that exists because of the city of Toronto, and I lived in a suburb of Ottawa. And I love the idea because this is only in a middle class household. Do you get you get a pony? Wait, I got to pay to feed this fucking thing? You get a pony for 6 weeks, and mostly it's just consequences.
So $4,000, they get all the residuals. Back to that. Here's the very interesting thing I think is this is a weirdly transformative thing for the music industry because the $4,000 they get all the residuals as far as like sales from an album, which is what everyone thinks, and there's nothing about it's posted to the Arc Music Factory YouTube page. So the Arc Music Factory gets all of those YouTube residuals, which are literally the only way this thing fucking makes money. They sue, it gets taken off of Arc Music Factory and put onto Rebecca Black's own YouTube channel. And basically, Rebecca Black gets this weird thing where after everything goes viral and people are abusing her, which we'll get into more so, she becomes a YouTuber full time because the whole thing becomes her story of how she's 13. She didn't even, this is the other thing. She didn't write the song. I always thought she
Yeah,
wrote the song.
so did I. I didn't
Dude,
realize, and
this
can we,
40-year-old man
it's
wrote the song in fucking 20 minutes, and then my favorite thing is he rapped on the song.
it's
The
okay.
song
The
is going to be
rapping,
about love. Also, me, a guy who's twice your dad's age, I'm going to rap on it.
it's no, but the best part is this is how he describes writing the song. I was I was at home, I was having a glass of wine, I was writing songs. I looked up, I realized I've been writing songs for longer than I thought because Thursday had turned into Friday. And then I thought Friday is the day before Saturday, and that'll be the weekend. That's fun. I'll write a song about that. And then
Yeah.
he basically just wrote that sentence as close to music as possible. And then, very crucially, and this cannot be undersold, insisted that he rapped near a 13-year-old. Excuse
This is,
me.
I love this.
Excuse me. Yeah, you can have the lyrics to my Stairway to Heaven Friday, but only if I insert myself, much like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. I must rap in this, or you do not have it. You do not have a deal to give me $4,000. That's the other thing is bear in mind he is being paid $4,000 to rap in a child song. That's the other thing that's very crucial to this.
No, he organized everything, and part of it was I'll rap too.
I hate
I love that.
I live in Southern California, and this story is so much more believable when you live in Southern California because Southern California is, for some reason, it's a place where that uncle or cousin of yours that always is like, let me tell you what idea I'm going to get off the ground. Food truck that actually gives you a massage. Southern
Yeah, it's never a new
California,
idea. It's a combination of two ideas at the same time that are just sure.
but don't put those together though. It's a comedy. Anything to do with a comedy club, it'll be a spin on it. Oh, that's always a fucking doozy. It's a
Oh,
comedy
buddy,
club,
for someone
but
who's
it's all
figured
made
out
of
gambling.
glass. Oh, yeah,
No, but
yeah, yeah,
I figured out gambling.
yeah. Crypto really brought that out in people too. I figured this one out actually.
No, but like me, A guy you've
Come on,
only
man.
known as the guy who stuck a banana in his butt when it was in a freezer for $10. I figured gambling out.
Hey, man, I want you to know something about me. I am a guy that you once saw snort MDMA, look up with a nosebleed and go, this is either really good MDMA or we just got sold speed. You have not figured out the financial markets. Stop emailing me about crypto.
This man did not tell me anything about crypto, but I take parenting advice from this man. And he beat his dad's friend. We were 20 years old. He beat his dad's friend in poker. He's actually a pretty good poker player. Beat his dad's
Hmm.
friend in poker, and his dad's friend didn't have the money. Think about how shitty a father's friend this is too.
I
Didn't have
think
the
I know who
money, so
this
he's
guy
like,
is.
"Hey, here's some hash." He gave the guy some hash, and since it was his dad's friend, he was just like, "All right." Gave him the hash. We tried to smoke the hash one time. We were like, "I don't think that's hash," and it was black licorice. He was smoking he was smoking black licorice out of a bong for like a long time.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, how do I raise my son? $4,000, all the YouTube money. Patrice Wilson, who we'll talk a bit about later. Honestly, Patrice Wilson is almost so much more fun to talk about because I'm gonna get to show you a YouTube video that will maybe scar you. But before this, Rebecca Black, let's talk a bit about 2011 and how we were both fucking loser hipsters in 2011.
Oh yeah, we were
Things
living in
being ironically
Toronto.
funny
Oh, this was the
was
high watermark.
yes.
Okay, I'm so happy we're going to talk about this. I'm also glad that or that'll probably be edited out. Snip, snip. This is the high watermark
No edits,
of,
baby.
well, fuck it. Much like crack.com, which was great in 2011 and sort of an island of sanity. This was the height of hoodies, eye rolling things. Like, this is one of, at looking back, some of the cringiest stand up comedy is literally some fuck in a button up shirt being like, cassette tapes were what we had in the 90s, though. And like, ah, like fucking it stunk, but was also really fun. There were a lot of bikes, and everyone had jean cutoffs, and we all smoked, and it was fucking cool.
Everyone fucking smoked.
Oh my God. People used to talk about how no one smoked then. No one smokes now. Back then, everyone smoked. Back then, everyone on this podcast had a real issue with how many cigarettes they were smoking.
Yeah. Back then, people in this podcast, and we weren't one of those
Back
fucking losers who asked people for a specific brand, buddy. You could just say something was a cigarette and we'd smoke it, including black licorice.
Exactly correct. Rock on. Yeah, exactly correct. You're looking at people, 100% of this podcast smoked cigarettes before they drank water every day in 2011.
Oh yeah, wake up, smoke immediately. Why do I feel bad? You're dumb. Um, but the idea of finding a YouTube video that was ironically funny, and then what people liked more than anything, especially in our friend circle, was our rich kid trying and failing. And good lord, did Rebecca Black look like a rich kid trying and failing?
This is the thing, is it literally was 2011 was also, we were either about to, because this is spring of 2011.
Sure.
I think, yeah, Friday, like when it's on
No,
Tosh.0
I think it's February.
of
That's where it
2011.
pops off on Tosh.0, which is insane. That like I never
I was gonna
liked. Yeah, go for it.
So I was going to build the Tosh.0, but so February, we're building to Occupy Wall Street is in the fall of this year, which does not ever really get
That's
talked
how
about
Friday
anymore.
ends, by the way. Is Occupy Wall.
Occupy Wall Street.
People
It ends
see
with her.
Friday, they get pissed. They're fucking like these rich aren't being taxed enough.
Yeah, it ends at Ducati Park, or whatever the fucking Gudati. I don't remember that park was. Anyway, this was the high year of literally they bailed out all the banks at the 2008. Like, everyone was just so fucking pissed off about anyone who had any sort of elitism. There was so much just kind of like, this motherfucker. And so then this woman paid for her daughter to sing a song and inadvertently let everyone blow off some steam about the banks being bailed out, and they fucking torched this poor girl, and they did it via the weirdest show, which was it was America's Funniest Home Videos, hosted by the best version, like the funniest version of the comedy that Dane Cook was attempting to do. That's what Tosh Point oh was. And it was like, and it was Daniel Tosh, who is I love Daniel Tosh as a stand up, but it was not Daniel Tosh at his best for so long. Other times, it had some really good years, but
Yeah, it was just
moments,
kind
not
of
years.
meaner America's Funniest Home Videos. And then the idea that you would need to go to television for an aggregator of what is funny online is a idea that was literally only valid for like 5 years.
Yeah, there's about 10. I would give it 10 years.
Yeah.
And 2000 and Tosh was the thing, was the selling point was Tosh. And this really, really worked. And I got to tell you, the Friday segment really, really worked because he was actually very good at portraying himself as being on the side of the people in the videos that they featured. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he really did that well with Rebecca Black for that video. Do you know what I mean? I think. I'm not actually sure if she appeared on the show or not. For Comedy Central in Australia has done a great job knocking down any sort of clips of Tosh Point oh. Couldn't even find it on Daily Motion. And you can find full movies on Daily Motion. But I know
yeah, you can find fucking OJ killing Nicole on Daily Motion.
On Daily Motion. So I'm literally just going to say
fucking...
that if I've got this wrong, but I did see a clip of her and him appearing together like in a redemption-y thing. So I think like that was the one thing that show did, is it humanized
he just
these
doesn't
people.
care. He's like, yeah, you got called a whore and people said they wanted to fuck you with a knife. Anyway,
Anyway.
I need to work at an improv. So you got to speed this up.
According to a door guy John Hastings once met, I always say to my opener, if I don't have 3 babes in this green room by the time I'm off stage, you're fired. Now, I don't believe that about Daniel Tosh at all, but I was told that by someone once.
Oh yeah, like have you heard the old John Mayer rumor? I feel like this is like the Richard Gere gerbil in his butt thing, but John
Go
Mayer
ahead.
getting blown by this girl, and then he goes, "I'm gonna come," and then he just pissed her in her mouth, and he went, "Ha ha." That's the rumor.
Oh my God.
Whoever made that up either loves or hates John Mayer.
Yeah.
But
or loves or hates piss.
uh really what you can say is it's the internet's two favorite things: a pretty girl and hating on a pretty girl.
Not only that, oh, you're so right. Pretty girl, let's hate on a pretty girl. But I think we must stress the level of this fucking rich kid thinks she's gonna fucking
oh yeah
gonna fucking
just get into the music industry.
Yeah.
And it's like
not on our
still
dime.
leftover hatred for shit like the Backstreet Boys. And the fresh hatred for Justin
Bieber. This is the other thing.
People also, fucking hated Justin Bieber.
The other thing to remember about online culture in 2011 is everyone is starting to be as online as they are right now, but people aren't realizing how big it is. They're not realizing how many people are using it. They're not realizing the actual, like, 4chan and that sort of thing is a part of our culture and has been going back to 5 years before this. But it is not acknowledged in any way, basically until kind of Trump is elected, outside of our generation. Our generation awares of things like 4chan, but this is one of the events where you really see the weaponization of the internet that comes to really become a hallmark of a lot of bullshit moving forward. But this was truly sort of a, between Tosh.0 and a couple of other things, those are the inorganic moments, but it was also just a grassroots, let's all go be mean to a child. And boy, howdy.
Dude, and my favorite stuff about this, actually, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back talking about the fallout of Rebecca Black's life almost being ruined.
But from the ashes, rise a YouTube player with a nudie deck of cards.
There
after the break.
We're back from our super hot break.
Oh, yeah. I'm covered in all sorts of liquids. Cum, Windex, orange juice, and coffee.
Mm-hmm. Wake up, get sick, nut, orange
clean
juice.
Up.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right, guys. Welcome back to John and Dylan Online, the only podcast that does not fake laugh at our jokes. So you know when a joke's not
the
funny.
only one.
The only fucking one. Dylan and I were just talking about that off mic, and I brought it on mic.
Yeah, check it out. Here's the new Dan Carlin episode. And then Hitler, he's just fake laughing. There's nothing funny
Before.
about his long talk about how feudalism ended in much death, but he goes,
Yeah.
"They told me
I
to do this now."
The thing I have 2 points about Dan Carlin before we return back to what we're talking about. Here's my first point. He doesn't know how to properly set the rhythm for his sentences. So when you're listening, it really puts you on edge.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, let's fucking do some editing, Dan. Like he really hit it with the fucking Genghis Khan series, but sometimes it's like, and the inkwell was from H.G. Pennypacker's Inkwell and Ink Bottles, which is on the corner of Baker and Fifth. Used to be on the corner of Baker and Third. And it's just, come on,
I
fucking
want to
pick
see
it up,
Dan
bud.
Carlin when he does his 17-hour series on Rebecca Black and Justin Bieber and
The
Dracula.
Gangnam
Anyway,
Style guy. Psy, the Gangnam Style guy. Gangnam
19
Style.
hours on Psy.
The thing with Gangnam Style is it was a region of the
Oh
city
yeah,
of
he'll talk about how
Seoul.
he'll probably talk about how what Psy said is actually fucking for assholes because the Gangnam region is afflicted and he's a fucking prick upper class guy. That'll be hilarious. Anyway, John Patrice Wilson is the man who
Woo!
founded Arc Music Factory. He is
Ow!
the son of Nigerian immigrants. They immigrated to a Nordic country, and I forget which one this happened in. That would be very important information, but you know what? We're a synopsis podcast by two fucking bald comedians, so I feel
Balding, balding, balding. Say it,
that's
balding.
true. I'm like a guy who was 80% on Grand Theft Auto. I haven't finished the game yet, but I'm all
Yeah.
I'm almost there. So this is
I'm
one
at
of
the
my
level
favorite
of,
stories. Go for it.
go ahead. No, no. Oh, I'll do my balding joke and then you go. I'm at the level of balding. I'm at that level in Grand Theft Auto Vice City where you kill the chef and get that knife. That's where I am with balding.
Ooh, yeah, you've
Yeah.
just started your journey.
The end of the beginning, I like to say.
So Patrice Wilson's walking down the street. His parents lived in a Nordic country. A guy, he's one of the only black people in that Nordic country. Another black guy walks up to him and just goes, "Do you rap?" And Patrice Wilson says, "Yes." That's how he becomes a touring musician.
This is the thing
He
that,
actually did rap. He actually did. He did more singing, but he's like, he did rap too. I just love that story. You're black. Do you rap? Yes.
yeah. What I also like about these stories is I love when, speaking of pretentiousness, when people talk about show business, like, do you know what it is like to be in the arts? And I love when someone's like, can you do this thing? And he's like, I'll probably if I try, yeah. And I just love where it's like, yeah, also it's mostly just trying. That's what it is. Just try. If you try,
Oh,
you can.
they I forget who said this when I first started, but it's like if anyone says, "Do you do this?" just go yes.
Yeah.
Just say yes cuz there that could be the only time you get that offer. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you fail, that sucks. But you tried.
Hey, let me say this. There was a improv-a-thon for the improv club that was in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Ooh.
And I wanted to get my fucking ass in there, right? And I used to play piano as a kid and hadn't played it for 10, 12 years at this point. And they were like, hey, we need a second piano player for this thing. Can you play piano? And I just went, sure can. Sure fucking can. And they didn't figure out that I couldn't play piano until 30 hours later.
When you were like, I could play a piano, and what you did was you put two pieces of bread with some cheese in the middle, and you thought that piano would cook that bread.
That's right. What I did was I just went and had a friend of mine who teaches piano teach me like 8 chords, and he's like, "Do those in any order," and it almost sounds like a song. And I did that, and then he showed me Charlie Brown and one other thing, and then I played piano for an improv-a-thon for 30 hours, and the
That
last,
is not good.
not good, wild stuff, wild fucking stuff.
Good that you talked about improv because Patrice Wilson does the most improv thing I've ever heard of, which is he tours in the Nordic countries for a couple years, and he uses that experience of touring musician, quote unquote. Where did you tour? Couple places, couple times. He founds a record label and essentially does the improv teaching thing, what a lot of
Oh
comedians
yeah.
do. Yeah, he founds a label and gets some rich people to give him money to make them music videos.
Not just, yeah, this is something that I know a few people that were in different versions of this racket around both America and the UK, which is, and it's very much a byproduct of the housing bubble and the giant banking bubble that burst in 2008, which is you had a shitload of people in shitloads of suburban middle class places like Irvine, California, that are literally like, I make $8 million a year selling people subprime mortgages that will default. I am on a lot of amphetamines. I would like to spend $4,000 on making a rap video about my buddy Jar Face. And
Jar,
that is
there you go, jar face. That
and that's
improv fucking training. That's 30 hours of
right
improv,
there.
bitch. Jar
30
face.
hours of was I playing the piano right there? No, that's why that pause was there, because I was also doing a callback to the Dan Carlin impression.
There you go. Check this one out.
Double
Hey,
callback.
we're on a beach. No, we're not. We're in space. Jar face. End of scene.
Yeah.
30 hours of that shit.
30 hours of that shit. Also, guess what? We're on a beach in space. A double improv.
Who said
Fuck.
you can't have a beach in space, you fucking
Paul,
piece of shit asshole?
Paul
Why don't you
Nee,
go fuck your
Greg.
dad.
Call me Greg Proops right now. Call me fucking Greg Proops.
Oh yeah, that's what I remember. We watched some improv in my high school improv team. And one lady
I
just
know.
came into the scene, and my friend Mike laughed so hard because she just went, I have a jar of eggs. And then nothing else. And she just stood there. That was all she said. She entered the scene, said everyone she had a jar of eggs. That was it. And then Mike, my friend Mike, fucking lost his mind. It was great. And then for the rest of
Here's
the
something
school
that I
year, we
don't.
walked up to her and saying we had jar eggs. I looked like I was bullied, and I was, but then I got my revenge on the people who didn't do it to me. John?
I did this. I did the same thing. I learned how to be funny in high school, and that was a real problem for the people that did not deserve it.
that was but me and John are the cowards who joined political organizations. Anyway,
Yeah. I mean, I
this is
wouldn't
my-
say I got my own back eventually, and that they died in a drunk driving accident, and I was happy. Go ahead.
Arc Music is one of the craziest stories because they start in like late 2010. February 10th, 2011 is when Friday by Rebecca Black releases. So they're immediately a huge success.
Huge.
They get sued by Rebecca Black's family. But once again, as we said, the YouTube residuals, this was like when this was first made, Rebecca Black was like, yeah, I mean, we're never going to make any money. And I think my favorite thing about how Patrice Wilson wrote Friday is, and you can see this, and there's like a really, Decoder Ring does a really good job of breaking down how the song is. It's almost good. And my favorite thing is he wrote it in a night, and you can totally tell because he has the beginnings of a song that is stupid and bad, but this is very important about Friday because we've all had friends, or at least I've definitely had friends who are like, show me bad movies that are just completely unwatchable. It is a listenable song. It is easily digestible. The thing that makes it good is that he clearly wrote it in 4 hours because the original song he pitched her was about like having a boyfriend. And she was like, I don't want to do a song about fucking having a boyfriend. And he was like, what about one that's about how it's Friday? And he was like, she said, okay.
He has admitted he wrote it because he realized it was almost Friday. Like there was no other intellectual.
The most fuck, I have something due tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's almost Friday. Here's the song about Friday. Friday. Getting down on Friday. Let's fucking go.
The song Friday is the equivalent of a cold McDonald's cheeseburger.
Great.
Doesn't look that great. It's not actually that good for you, but you look at it and you're like, I'll give this a go.
There's a lot of stuff that it's better than.
That's true. There's a lot of stuff that Friday is better than. Friday is better than a lot of things I like. Like Friday is a more universally enjoyable song than anything Black Sabbath has written. I love Black Sabbath and they're the best, but more people will listen to Friday than will listen to Paranoid. Do you know what I'm saying? Paranoid
I don't
takes
think
something.
so.
I do.
That's dude.
You are
Like,
not nearly fucking count. What I'm
you
saying
want to
is
see what
people.
has more views? I'll see what
I
has
do
more
want to see.
views right
I
now.
want to see. I want to see what has
And
more
this is
views.
complete. Paranoid by Black Sabbath.
It was
A
a bad
song.
metaphor. More what I was trying to sort of say is that this is a song that just sort
Oh,
of
you're
like.
backing down. No, you can't.
I mean, I am. I
You can't.
went to.
203 million views for Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and
So
Rebecca Black has 154 million, which is still that's close.
yeah, that's a lot closer than
Sorry,
I.
165 million.
She's
But
gaining.
but
She's
here's
gaining on the fucks.
here's a very important thing about that. This is the Rebecca Black Friday video from her
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Patrice Wilson, his video was on the Arc Music channel, and that had to be taken down because of this lawsuit. So you could honestly have more views. But the other thing about the Rebecca Black thing that I think is very important, and one of my favorite things about the Friday thing is this is I haven't heard this discussed. Friday as a song is just sounds like every other Christian pop
Yeah.
song. So the Christians were like,
Great.
I see nothing wrong with this. And they just made a bunch of songs about how great it is that it's Sunday and they get to go to church.
This is the other thing is if anything is clean and sounds
Yeah.
like the thing that's popular.
Wasn't about fucking. It was just about how Friday is nice. Wasn't even about not hating your job or your. It was just I like Friday. That's the
People
whole fucking.
like listen, people fucking forget like how fucking you still don't swear in a lot of parts of America. Like it's fucking wild.
And this is the thing that's so interesting to me about Patrice Wilson is that he takes this. They lose the lawsuit. He ends up having to give over the rights to Friday to Rebecca Black's family. John,
As
how would you pivot off of this?
Let me just say before I even tell you how I would pivot off it, which I would tell you. The idea of a record executive having to give royalties to an artist for the song they sung. Do you know how much that goes against everything the record industry stands for? He cried while shitting and throwing up on his shit. His tears touched his vomit that was on his shit.
Well, this is very important. This is
Here's
not
how
a
I would
record
have
label.
This is here is how I would pivot. Of course, I would go into where all scoundrels end up. Stand-up comedy. I wrote the Friday song. Let me ask you something about the year 2011 from our perspective. Would it have been any weirder if the idea of one of those headliners turned to us and went, the safety dance? I wrote that, you know. And you'd be like, yeah, I can see that you wrote the safety dance, and this is still where you ended up. I'm very surprised Patrice Wilson did not go into stand-up comedy. Go ahead, Dylan.
Patrice Wilson, instead of doing what he inadvertently did, which was make a Christian rock single or a Christian pop single, he tries to rekindle or tries to find another Rebecca Black.
Come
That's what
on.
he's trying to do.
Because she
John,
corners
what
the
would you say
market
the
by
number one thing about Rebecca Black that people liked was?
the fact we could bully her.
That's interesting. You are wrong. The
I
most
don't think
important thing about
no. I'm
Rebecca
going to actually
Black
say this.
was
I
that
quite
she
cr-
was young.
No,
that
no.
was
Oh no.
that
What
was the
is
number one thing.
this?
What would you do? What do you think? What would you add to Rebecca Black? What would you make that would make Rebecca Black better?
Someone to protect her.
No, make her younger.
No, 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 no.
This
No,
is
no, no.
Allison Gold. Shush up. There we go. She's
I want
breaking
you to,
out of the cops. She's dressed like
what
a
the
full
fuck?
prostitute. Oh, the
What
cops.
the
This lady's
what the
freaking hooking. This 11-year-old is hooking. Get in the fucking
Yeah.
cop car, you bitch.
Yeah, what you can't see is these cops are weeping because they just had to arrest an 11-year-old who's hooking. Also, none of those other wait, she's getting the electrical chair for sex work? This is not realistic.
This is yeah. It's
This
not
what is I didn't realize this music video took place inside Dylan's America. Oh my god, is that Jake Gyllenhaal? Oh shit. I want you to know I cannot hear any of the music of this. I can only see it. And just the visual is a fucking nightmare.
Don't worry, the music's really good. So this is what Patrice Wilson is doing. I mean, you get it. I don't want to end up on a watch list. I assume if you watch
Oh
this
my.
whole video, you're on a list.
Yeah, I assume this is, oh boy. Let me just say this right now. Patrice Wilson really strikes me as a guy that doesn't understand that like lightning lightning can strike twice, but it won't strike twice if you do literally the same things, just worse. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
he
that is
recognized.
yeah. There's so many people who have one hit wonders, and the reason they do that is because they don't know how to follow up, or the thing that they did is just like a throwaway change up. Like Sugar Ray's a weird example of this. Sugar Ray's
Sugar Ray's a
song
great example
Fly.
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their whole album was metal, and then they had one song that was for some reason reggae. That's the song that Moms liked. Moms bought the whole CD, and then their next album was just easy rock. So they pivoted well. But this guy,
Also,
like, yeah,
but wait, crucially, this is why Sugar Ray survived. What was their next album called?
I like to fuck.
It was going to be called I Like to Fuck. But it was called 1459. Like the whole thing about their second album was like, we were that weird one hit wonder, and we're gonna like play into that. And then they had some earworm song on that second album that was I fuck it. I get like I don't know what it
It
is,
was
but I
about
just
having a
remember
van.
I think it's about having it's about having a van and having a husband that just, you know what, sometimes he makes the casserole on Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just fucked you, suck the cum off my dick. That's what the song was called.
Yeah, yeah. And moms loved it.
Let me
They'd be like,
finish
kid,
inside of you. You're fixed, right? That's the second
yeah,
single.
yeah. Spaff and me, don't worry, my husband doesn't check. That's the
Yeah,
imagine if
that's
that was
good.
a
So that video is very important because the H3H3 podcast, which I've only heard about through like YouTube videos about how they suck now.
yeah,
I
yeah. I
Rebecca
completely
Black did an interview on there that I was gonna listen to, but then it was 3 hours long, and I was like, get fucked. Um,
I would like you to know when I started listening to that. Here is a new thing I would like to say, and we're guilty of it as anyone. But just because podcasts now have a visual element does not mean that a full hour of every podcast needs to be a guy saying while an unspeaking producer looks for a YouTube video. Like literally H3 pod I've tried to listen to A3 pod. The amount of it is just this. Uh, um mm, mm. Like fuck, just edit it down for an hour. For the love of God. Go ahead, Dylan.
Not editing that either.
No, I wouldn't.
So he starts making fun of the video. Patrice Wilson finds out about it. I guess Patrice Wilson's having some mental health problems. There's a website that's just a countdown to a live stream, and it's like just Patrice Wilson walking around this fucking graveyard, filmed weird, and basically just starts threatening H3H3 with like harm and shit.
I gotta say this. Fame is a fascinating cup to drink from. And I find it always interesting when the periphery characters let someone else's success go to their head. Say whatever you want about the work that this guy did on the song Friday. And let's be honest, he wrote it. And he wrote a really successful pop song. Say whatever you want for what the fallout and everything else. He wrote a really successful pop song. And I
Yeah.
guarantee in he has his head, he never got the credit. And like, because this is so weird. You have to really, really sort of be in a really good place mentally to take that level of scrutiny, that level of like you're going through lawsuits, all of that sort of stuff. He may have like had a glimpse of a lot of money that he had to hand back, and that's a really fucking hard thing to go through.
Yeah, and what do you say? It's a very interesting thing where it's like, I don't know, man. Is he having mental problems? Were these always there? Is it like this is the main thing about the internet, obviously, is that people seem very sure that either Patrice Wilson is the victim here or H3H3 are the victims here. But it's pretty
Rebecca
difficult
Black is the victim.
yeah, and whatever you can
Allison Gold.
say, Allison Gold is the real victim because she just got like, yeah, this fucking. She didn't get the chance to make a YouTube channel that
Yeah,
is.
she didn't end up with the YouTube handle Allison. She just got called a trollop by a bunch of people on Reddit, I assume.
Yeah, and it's not like he could have just made a fucking weird Christian video and gotten a bunch of. He could have just pivoted to Christian music, but he did not. Anyway,
But this is the thing with people like this is that it's also that sort of thing of accepting that sometimes people really struggle with accepting what actually makes you popular. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. And it's hard to be like, I'm the laughing stock. Anyway, that
I
is
mean,
Patrice Wilson. He's there's no updates really on what he is. If you want to look into what he's up to, please let us know. Hopefully he's on meds or something. I know what H3 is doing. They're still doing 9-hour podcasts and somehow grinding it out. So congratulations.
I mean, H3, I would say, is more than grinding it out. They're quite killing it, and I honestly can't figure it out.
Well, they're part of the new podcast thing where all you do is start rivalries with other podcasts because you just have that's your whole thing.
Oh my God. Everything. Do you understand, for someone who loved the Opie and Anthony show and like weird shock jock asshole radio for years, should love all these podcast wars, but it feels like it just feels like they're all cover bands. That's what it feels like. All of those podcasts, they just don't know how to do it right. It's like, you're not giving out their phone numbers and then being like, you're not saying asinine things in a hockey jersey in a radio station. It's just weird that you're in a converted public storage unit around a bunch of servers being like, bring me the head of Andrew Scholes. Like, what the fuck are we doing with all these podcasts? Can we just don't stop bullying Brendan Schaub? He has CTE. He'll be dead soon. Just leave him alone.
You don't need to do that anymore. The thing I mentioned about Patrice Wilson's creepy video was they found out which graveyard it was in. They found everywhere that he like H3 people just found that. It wasn't they didn't were like, hey, let's find out where he is. The subreddit for H3 just found out where he was. He didn't film it. Like this guy didn't film it like with any discernible way to figure out where he was either. They just fucking found it out. You don't need to dox people anymore. You don't need to be like, here's his phone number. People are already figuring out the phone number as soon as you finish the man's last name. So Rebecca Black, to put a bow on this one, well, not even a bow. Here's what happens with Rebecca Black. Video comes out. Everyone's like, I want to fucking kill you. People who never liked things that are so bad they're good start liking this. Everyone has to come to to grips with the fact that they kind of like the song.
Yeah.
She goes on talk shows and goes, the talk show hosts, my favorite 2000s thing go, what was it like to be called I'm going to read these. Are these okay if I read them? No,
oh, yeah.
Not. Oh, okay. Dirty whore, slut face, push over bitch, hit with car. That was mine.
Rebecca, I don't know how this person was able to leave an elaborate drawing of your whole family being set on fire as a YouTube comment, but which one of these people would you like to see burn alive the most?
Yeah, exactly. What's it like to be pushed by a TV anchor? That hasn't happened yet. Bitch. How does that feel? Tired whore? You look tired all the time.
Hey, let me ask you this, you 14-year-old piece of shit. What's it like to loan me $10 and know you're never getting that back? Can I borrow $10?
So that's Rebecca Black, and she's like on all these shows, and they just ask her like, "Oh, what's it like for your success?" And it's something that the mainstream media has never really dealt with. Is that something where it's so bad it's good, and they don't know how to.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing of they're like, man, we don't know how to deal with someone that's kind of manipulating the internet to create a message that's just sort of frenzied people's anger and weaponized it. It'd be really horrible if someone figures out how to do this and then like runs for president. We're not going to worry about that. Anyway, The thing I want to say about Rebecca Black that was amazing was after 6 months of people really dunking on her, it just started getting played at hipster weird dance nights. I remember being at Dance Cave 2011, Dylan. How do you fucking
Yo,
yo fucking hell? Let's go to Big Fat Burrito. Um, and they played Friday, and people went fucking ape shit.
yeah, of course. It's like Rick Astley. It's like any of those things that
Oh,
were ironic. It's like you can only listen to something ironically like a couple times before you just start liking the thing.
I completely agree. I also realized we skipped one piece of admin pre-show that we're now going to have to do live on the air. Besides, I would like to say this, Rebecca Black, thank you, very nice. I think you have a great sense of yourself, especially after everyone called you the C word in 2011. If you'd ever like to come on the show, not invited. We don't have guests.
Yeah, fuck you.
Weirdly, yeah, fuck you. You can talk to me on Friday. Friday.
That's good stuff, bitch.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
back in
you.
the comments, baby.
I am a bitch. You're a bitch. We're
No,
all
I was calling
bitches.
Rebecca Black a bitch.
Oh, good. Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
I'll never give it up, Rebecca.
yeah. Dylan is an Allison Gold head, unfortunately.
I'm a golden boy, and I'll die a golden boy.
Yeah. We're golden boys here on the John and Dylan Go Online podcast organization. Here at
Team
John and Dylan.
Patrice.
Yeah, we're team fucking well, I'm more team Allison than I'm team Patrice.
Oh, okay.
I'm like I wouldn't say I'm in the Patrice army, but I'm in the Patrice reserve army.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. We forgot to discuss who we're going to do next week, Dylan, and we'll tell the listeners now.
Oh no, well we have to mention this because of Rebecca Black's the timing of when Rebecca Black became famous in 2011 and the very very smart decision to just basically pivot off of this and just because people are so obsessed with how this 13-year-old is showing so much poise and
Yeah,
dealing with grown people calling her a bitch and a cunt is that she starts her own YouTube channel. And here's how early on she is, which you can totally tell because we are old. She has the username Rebecca.
it is. I'm really happy that you brought this point up, and I'm apologizing to everyone that I almost made it so it wouldn't be brought up. But it is amazing that she does kind of pivot over into YouTube, and it also is this very interesting thing of because of the ages Dylan and I were in 2011. I didn't know the second chapter until we researched this podcast. I assumed that she just cried a lot and now worked in like medical sales or something like fucking very Southern California. She works for a company that has a obscure name and you turn out means missiles.
Yeah, she changed her name.
Yeah, something like that. And instead, yeah, she's basically like the weirdest, like the one of those like IRL lifestyle influencers. She just goes around living a luxurious, interesting life with very well done coiffed hair.
No, she does great. She has a new album out. She's, as mentioned, she's selling a nudie playing card thing.
What is the name of that album? That album was very extremely like I feel like that album was unnecessarily provocatively titled.
It's
I think
checked out the size of my pussy by
yeah,
Rebecca Black.
it's called Sex is
No, it's called
Piss.
Let Her Burn, which is not which wrong on that one.
But I mean, I just remember that being like, we get it, Rebecca. That's how I feel
What?
about Let Her Burn. Let
Oh,
Her
Let Her
Burn.
Burn. Oh, Let Her Burn. Oh, you were pissed off at how fucking
Uh,
Rebecca Black
I
felt.
roll. I roll, I said.
I will say
No,
this: I did not know Rebecca Black had a new album, so now you guys do, and this is part of her media tour.
congratulations. Please welcome Rebecca Black's Spirit.
All right, so next week, John, just think of something off the top of your head, and we'll review it.
Just to continue on this fun run, and we already mentioned it, ladies and gentlemen, next week, and I actually met this man. We will
Oh
be.
no, no, we already decided.
Who did we
Because
already decide?
remember the fucking thing last week was your internet had a little poopy doopy and
Yeah.
we couldn't. So next up is Tila Tequila.
Yes, Tila Tequila. Oh my God, guys.
Yeah,
Tila
very
Tequila.
good.
Tila Tequila has everything. We are going to talk about MySpace. She was the first MySpace star. Guys, from YouTube to MySpace. No longer do you write fuck off in the comments. You select your top 8 friends and then you tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, you emotionally abuse your friends. Very good, very important because Rebecca Black is a story of how a young woman overcame people chugging on that haterade.
That's
Tila
right.
Tequila was broken
Oh,
by it.
mm, and Tila Tequila was both broken by it and then also manipulated it and then also maybe wasn't ever a really good person. And let me put it this way with Tila Tequila. Tila Tequila ends kind of almost, well, you couldn't predict it.
That is next week. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening or kissing. Goodbye.
Kissing.
Follow us on social medias. I'm at Dylan Gott. That is at the John Hastings. We are old, so much like Rebecca Black, we have those handles on every form of social media, whichever your favorite fucking thing is. And
Mm.
eat our piss, drink our cum. Goodbye.